But I think we should probably start soon. What do you think, Owen?
I think it's a great time to start. I think you guys all look so great. It's so good to look at Lark and Owl. I got to say, I'm excited. Like, oh, I miss being inside Lark and Owl. So this is great to virtually be inside Lark and Owl. Becca, as always, your background looks good. I'm so glad you named yourself Becca O in appreciation of our future president, O. Biden. So I think everything is just looking great. I'm excited to let's get this go. Let's get going. Let's do it.
All right. Here are our featured readers. I should have put this up sooner. Beautiful people. It's Owen Egerton.
From Wikipedia.
It's the entry I found about you.
Wow, that looks pretty good. I think that's the other Egerton, but
yeah, for those just joining us, every month I put some sort of joke about Taron Egerton, the actor, up here for Owen, because I look for quotes by Owen. I look for Owen, I want you to get quoted a little more.
Yeah, I appreciate that you remind me once a month that Taron Egerton is much more successful and handsome than I am. I appreciate that.
His picture's not up here, buddy. Only yours.
Good point. That's not really a good point, but it is a point.
All right.
Well, all right. So are we live? Have we let everyone in the room? Fantastic.
People are coming in. We're live. Everything's going. You go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the One Page Salon. It's so good to have you guys. It is September 5th, 2020. Everything in the world is normal and calm and exactly how we expected it to be on January 1st, 2020. It is really good to have you guys here for another virtual one-page salon brought to you by me and by the Writers League of Texas. You can see Becca Oliver right there smiling into her camera. And for those of you guys who've never been to a one-page salon or are randomly searching on YouTube and just came across this, basically what One Page Salon is a monthly gathering of artists, songwriters, writers, poets, everything in between, sharing one page of a work in progress or something that they've published recently for your appreciation. It is also just a gathering. We just like to hang out. We used to do this at the North Door here in Austin, Texas, but instead what we've been doing is doing this online in the Room Door. And it's been pretty fantastic, actually, because it's also a chance to gather. So we do have an incredible lineup of featured writers that you're going to be hearing from tonight, and I'm so excited because there's some of my favorite writers working today, and we're also going to have this, you have a little chat room. So this is like the one opportunity that you ever have of going to a reading, and it's okay to talk during the reading. If you bring up your little Zoom chat, you can just talk to everybody, and keep it polite. I was going to say keep it clean. You don't have to keep it clean, I don't think, but cleanish. And we should be having a really, really great time. We're also really thankful tonight because we're being helped out with, like, you just got to buy this book. You just heard this incredible reading and it's incredible. And you're like, oh, I need this book in my hands, my sweaty hands. How do you make that happen? Well, you go to a brilliant independent bookstore, because you purchasing is keeping books alive, and that is keeping the future alive, and you have to do that. So let's talk to Lark and Owl. How are you guys doing? Jane, how are you?
I'm Owen. How are you? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. And you guys are in the store right now, yes?
In the store, and I'm with Rachel Genre. She's our community liaison.
Hello. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Owen. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thrilled to be part of this for several reasons. One, we're huge fans of the Writers League, as a lot of people know. Two, we're huge fans of you, Owen, as you know. And then three, we are so happy to introduce the Hope Alliance to all of you. We have been partnering with them for over a year on some other things and helping raise awareness for them and hopefully get some money going their way too. I'm gonna have to move my sequin mask. It's falling. And so, but I have an announcement for everybody.
Could you pause for a second and tell me more about your sequence mask?
My sequin mask, I just got it at this really cute bookstore called Lark Owl. I got it today and it matched what I was going to wear. So how about
Wow.
that?
Wow.
We can get you one. We can.
It's like It's like if Elton John was coming into my house, I'd say, "Put on your mask, Elton," and it would
You
be that.
mean Elton John or Taron Egerton as Elton John?
Damn you, Becca Oliver!
Good point. But we're so happy that you guys invited us to this, and we just wanted to say thank you for all of you who are joining in. Join us on our newsletter, on our website, Facebook, Twitter, find out all about us. And we have a big announcement today that for anybody who's a member of the Writers League of Texas, you get a 10% discount at Lark Owl whenever you come on up here, or you can call over the phone, same thing, okay?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's so generous. Thank you, Jane and everybody, Kristen, everybody.
So you guys are at in Georgetown, of course, and just right there smack in the center of Georgetown. It's a really brilliant store to visit, and of course online you guys are great too. For those of you guys who don't know, you do want to go to Lark and Owl, and it's Lark owlbooksellers.com. Oh, it's right there it's right there on the screen. Go there, and it's a really fun site to visit as well, because you're getting recommendations, you're getting cool ideas, you're getting it's as if you have someone in the store walking with you and recommending things. And I can't say it enough. As you're buying books, and I hope you are getting a chance, if you have the ability to buy books right now. I know it's a tough time and books are expensive. But buy a book by a writer who's having a book come out right now, or has one that's come out this year, and buy that book from a local bookstore, because you are, I guarantee, investing in the books you're going to be reading a year from now, because you're keeping a writer alive, and you're also investing in the places that you're going to be going to in the months to come, when things get safer and more safe. Like, it's just, you want those places to be there. And if you don't invest in them now, they just won't. You'll just walk outside and there'll be Amazon drones flying at your face everywhere, and one Starbucks. That will be the world. Will be one Starbucks and Amazon drones, which doesn't sound too horrible, but there's a better future. And so buy books from living writers, from living bookstores and local bookstores. Thank you guys, and also thank you for introducing us to Hope Alliance. That is really cool. I'd love to actually. Oh, by the way, there it is. Becca, you're on this. Becca, are you running the slides?
Yeah.
You're doing such a great job, Becca. You can do so much.
Just wait.
Are things going to go south from here?
Probably.
Well, do you want to talk about what the funds are going for tonight?
Yeah, so I'll just say that since we started partnering with Owen to do this event every month virtually since May, we've picked a different organization or entity to receive funds. So we've turned it into a fundraiser, and it was really, to Owen's credit, one of the reasons that he wanted to bring One Page Salon to the virtual space, was that he thought that it would not only bring people together, but that it was an opportunity to do good in the community. So every month we pick a different partner. This month we started with our wonderful bookseller partner, Lark Owl, and we said to them, who is someone, based in your community who's doing amazing work that you would like us to support? And they introduced us very enthusiastically to Hope Alliance. And it was pretty clear after checking out their website and just getting a sense of who they are and what they do, that they were a wonderful organization to support. So I want to say that, very big thank you to everyone who's watching, who registered with a donation to attend the event tonight. We have raised $450 for Hope Alliance, which I'm so proud to be able to send them a check, and 100% of the money that you donated will go directly to them. And we have Lisa Cantrell here tonight to say a few words and to tell us a little bit about Hope Alliance. So Lisa, take it away.
Thanks, Becca. And thank you, Jane and Rachel, for inviting me and putting me together with the Writers League of Texas. So thank you all for having me here, and thank you, Writers League of Texas, for what you do in the community. Most of all, I noticed that you're in the schools, and I think it's important that we educate our children and for y'all being a part of that. They are our future, and I think it's great that you're there at the AISD.
Thanks.
So we appreciate the fundraising, especially. That's really generous of you and much appreciated during COVID. It's been quite hectic for me to try to put together fundraising events. Our 5K is coming up soon, and we had to put that virtual, and it's going slow, but we're getting there. So you mentioned that you looked us up online. So the mission of Hope Alliance is to assist those who've been affected by family and sexual violence by providing them safety, services, and developing partnerships that lead to their hope and healing, and then prevention. So Hope Alliance was established in 1984, which has, I noticed on your website that we have that date in common.
I was also born in 1984.
Yes, were.
That was unfortunately funnier than I meant it to be.
So in 1990, we opened the shelter, and we did a renovation 3 years ago, and we can now serve up to 30 clients instead of the 15 that we had before. So that's been a blessing to us. However, with COVID, we've had to scale back because of social distancing, and we're back to only housing the 15. In 2019, we fielded 2,688 hotline calls, which is how most of our survivors come to us, through the hotline. We are working on setting up a new chat line, and we hope that comes into effect within the next couple of weeks. Of those calls, we sheltered 357 survivors for 7,963 nights. So all of our services are free to our clients. The services that we provide within the shelter and within our counseling center is legal advocacy. We do counseling for individuals, group counseling. We offer counseling for teens as well as child therapy. And that also has been cut back because of COVID. So our waiting list has grown from like 20 to 80 as the clients are waiting to come in for counseling. We also offer transitional housing and hospital accompaniment to those sexual assault survivors. And it is important to know that for every one person that we serve, we have to turn away one other person because our facility isn't large enough to operate to help all of Williamson County, which is who we serve. So the fundraiser tonight is very much appreciated.
Lisa, can I ask you, if people who are watching right now either want to find out more or find out different ways to donate to what you're doing or support what you're doing in different ways, or also because maybe they need your services, where's the best place for them to find you?
Online at hopealliancetx.org. They can find our hotline number there, or look at any of the other services that we have. And then if they want to donate, there's a donate page.
Great.
That's great. Thank you so much for what you're doing and what you guys do, even now in this sort of difficult time with new pressures. It's essential work. We're really, really grateful for what you're doing.
Well, we're glad that we can be here. Thank you so much. And we couldn't be here without people like you. So we really do appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. Well, if you're out there in the internet world and you're watching, by the way, Becca has put the website to Hope Alliance in the chat room as well, as you can find out more. But if you can, you can clap from home if you want to. Every now and then we'll be making noises. You can snap if you got like roommates, but also just, it's okay to wake up your roommates a little bit. Let's snap and clap And please give it up for Hope Alliance and for Lark and Owl and Jane and Rachel and Lisa out there. Let's give it up for them, please, would you? Yeah, yay! I kind of wish we had like the Muppet audience, you know, the audience from the Muppet show. We could just cut to right there. That'll be the next feature. And I'm going to let them go off camera, and I'm going to let all our readers that we're going to be hearing from tonight, you know, Gambino and Charlie and Josh and Deborah, let them take a little break from the camera. You'll be seeing them back here in just a minute, and then we're going to go ahead and move straight into the next stage of all this. So you guys can all go off camera, and we'll be calling you onto the virtual stage in just a minute. Becca, you doing well today? I just want to check.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I am doing well.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I covered up my grays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For the first time since all of this started.
I don't understand. What you mean, like hair dye, or what do you mean?
I just covered them up.
Oh, all right. I'm letting my grays shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. My 15-year-old told me I found a gray on herself. I was like, well, okay.
I mean, that's what 2020 is, man. There's no safe place.
That's true.
So I'm great, thank you. I did want to remind everybody that we're going to be picking a one-page lottery winner in the room tonight, in the Zoom room.
That's right.
And that you can find the link in the chat box. I'll post it there again periodically throughout the evening. And then when Owen just feels like it at his whim, we will draw a name.
Yes,
right?
Yes, we're definitely going to do that. And I'm so excited about that too. I've also, by the way, I'm going to be sweating less tonight. My parents gifted me with a little air conditioning unit. If it gets loud in here or seems smoky, it's because it's a diesel, it's not diesel, but it's an air conditioning unit. So let me know if it gets too loud. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Cool. Well, one of the things we do at One Page Salon, one of the traditions that we have is we read a page by someone who can't be there that particular night. And tonight's no exception. It's Jane Kenyon. I'm going to be reading a poem from Jane Kenyon. If you guys don't know Jane Kenyon, I hope that you would soon look into her work. Beautiful poet. Her husband was a poet as well. Maybe that's what I was in mind, thinking about married couples who are both brilliant poets. And she has a brilliant ability to find the holy and the simple, find the miraculous and the mundane. She just sort of finds these details and then just sort of gives you those details. I'm going to be reading a poem of hers because I think it feels appropriate right now. Sick at Summer's End. So this will be the first reading, one page from Jane Kenyon. Sick at Summer's End. Today, from the darkened room, I heard the men across the lake taking up the dock for winter. They stacked the clattering sections well up the sandy slope and then shedded the canoes. I suppose they left the cabins locked. Late afternoon, the paper carrier's car slowed on the blacktop, stopped, and flinged gravel, started up again. I know the garden ramps and goes to seed, and the blue jay chills with its calls that sounds like the butcher's saw when it cuts into bone. The room turns darker still by insensible degrees, and crickets shrill from the window wells. I'm falling forward. I'm falling upward. Nothing to hold me down. Jane Kenyon, Sick at Summer's End. There we go. And you can snap for Jane. Hey, can we do this? Becca, let's take down the, no, let's go ahead and introduce our first reader. So we're going to introduce our first reader of the night. I'm super, super excited. Remember, you can applaud and snap also within the chat room. I'm really, really excited to have Josh on tonight. He's a short story writer. He's into rock and roll. I know he's also into albums, and I know he's also into fantasy, which is something I love quite a bit myself. He's got pieces in a punk rock future, and it just seems like one of the coolest guys. So please give it up loud and proud in your homes, in your heart, pounding loud for Josh Roundtree. Here he comes. He's going to come on the screen any minute. Here comes Josh. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm really good. I love that you named your titled your short story collection "Can't Buy Me Faded Love."
Yeah, that's the title story, and essentially it's one of my kind of weird rock and roll mock-ups. It's essentially a story about John Lennon deciding that he didn't really want to be a part of the Beatles anymore, but he wanted to move to Texas in order to help Bob Wills resurrect his career, and what ensues from that. So.
That's fantastic. That's wow. That's what Yesterday should have been. The movie Yesterday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and you'll get a little bit of that in there. That's got a lot of kind of weird rock and roll type stuff in there. A little bit of horror, a little bit of science fiction, a little bit of everything. I like to take really any of the influences and sort of put them in one pot and see what results.
That's super cool. Josh, here's a kind of a weird question before we get, every writer has 3 questions. But before we get into those questions, is your family from Austin for a while? Have you been in Austin for a while?
So I was born in Austin. I was raised, I moved when I was very young and raised in West Texas, but I've lived here since the mid 90s. So, and I was in Austin for quite a while. I live in Georgetown now, but Austin Metro. I
went on a hike this morning in West Austin, or west of Austin. And I was out, out about 22, out past 360. And I was on this hike with my brother, and we came across a small, old cemetery. And it was called Priest Cemetery, Priests. And it was a cemetery owned by this used to be ranch land. It was someone's ranch land, and had been back in the pre-states when Texas was a country. And in this small cemetery, there were a number of Roundtrees, and spelled like you, without a D, or just Roundtrees. And I was like, I wonder, because I thought your family was from around here, and I was wondering if that was your family.
It's really possible. I'm a 5th generation Texan. I think half of my family, was respectable. The other half were horse thieves, so a little bit.
Most of these grave sites look like horse thief grave sites.
Yeah,
so yeah.
The level that we're looking at.
All right. Well, it was cool for me. Well, I've got 3 questions. You're the first unlucky soul in this way, because the other writers will be prepared, because I usually keep the same questions unless they really flop.
Well, I'll be the guinea pig.
Yes. So my first question is kind of an interesting one, I think. Okay. Describe your favorite book, but I don't mean your favorite book to read. I mean, what is your ideal book physically? What kind of cover? What kind of pages? What are the edge of the pages? What age? What do you love when you pick up a physical copy of a book and go, oh yeah?
Well, obviously, first, it's all about how the book smells.
Yeah.
That it needs to come from, a musty old bookstore, or, I'll take musty bookstores. I'll take a brand new bookstore, but I want to have that bookstore smell. I like all kinds, but I really do like kind of a raspy paperback cover.
Oh.
With maybe some jagged edges on it. I know there's like an official name for that. I don't know what that is, but that's nice. I also like it if it's a nice old book that's got maybe a plastic cover on it, so I can be really anal about it and not bend any pages.
So used book over new book for you, or do you have a?
I'll take any book. It really doesn't matter.
All right. Question number 2 for you. We're forcing you to go back to school, and you're going to have to either go to college or get a graduate degree. We're forcing you back, but you have to study something that you did not study before. You have to get a new degree and study it. What is it you're going to study?
I think I would study journalism. We talked about writing all this rock and roll stuff. I'm just a huge music nerd from when I was a kid, but growing up, I don't think I knew that music journalist was something that someone could do as a job.
Yeah.
I think I'd maybe go back and figure out a way to do that.
I think there's a lot of music journalists who are trying to figure out how to do that.
Well,
exactly. Job. That's a great one. That's a great answer. Okay. Last question, and this was a question that my 15-year-old came up with, and I was like, oh, this is really good. We were talking about like remakes of movies, on reboots and remakes and everything like that. And I was like, oh, that's good. And she's like, well, you should ask the writers tonight, is there one book that they would either rewrite, not their own, rewrite or kind of reboot? Like in the same way that someone goes, hey, we're tapping you to make the new Bond or the new remake this, what would be the book that you would remake?
Oh my gosh, that is an incredibly hard question. So please pass along my thanks to your 15-year-old for that.
I will.
You know, maybe I can approach it as playing in someone else's world. I mean, my favorite book for sure is Lonesome Dove, and I think it'd be really cool to be able to write something with those characters. I like the sequels, or the sequel and the prequels for that. Maybe something earlier with those characters. Definitely wouldn't want to reboot that, but I'd sure like to, you know, play in that world.
That's a great way of putting it. Playing in that world. I think that's the right way of thinking about it. Okay, those are great answers. Josh, what are you going to be reading tonight?
Okay, so you asked for a work in progress. So this is something that is, I'm just maybe a third of the way through a new short story. We can start it off kind of quiet today and then let the other, you know, folks build it up. This one is, I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's kind of a ghost story that may have a science fictional element also. But all you really need to know to kind of set up this one-ish page is it's about a 10-year-old boy in the 80s. He is at his grandmother's house for the summer, and it happens to be a haunted house, and she moved there because it was haunted.
Oh, brilliant. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, wherever you are in the world or whether you're on the galaxy, I'm sure we have someone watching over us right now. Go ahead, and I want you to make noise as if you are a horse that is wildly trying to escape some of Josh's relatives, and you're just clomping, just clomping with joy because you feel alive because someone wants to steal you. Please give it up in that noise for Josh Roundtree.
Okay, so ghosts bled through the margins of that old house, and I made friends with a few of them. Like thin gray memories, they clung to the undersides of coffee tables and crouched in the narrow space between the guest bed and the wall. In the nighttime, I'd peer over the edge of the mattress at their dull shapes and whisper my secrets. They wouldn't respond, but I judged their interest in the way their eyes never wavered from mine. In the daylight, they were like half-erased pencil marks against the windows and the walls, often escaping notice and more easily forgotten, but still grasping at whatever reality they called their own. My favorite was the ghost of a girl about my age who I decided to call Shirley. She lingered at my grandmother's bookshelves, drawing the outline of her fingertips across the spines of books. The raspy sound of her fingers running against those paperbacks was the only noise she ever made. When Shirley would settle on one, I'd read it out loud to her. Most times it would be, "We have always lived in the castle." But today it was "Something Wicked This Way Comes." And I believe she picked it because I told her it was my favorite. We passed most mornings this way. Me, a nervous boy in tennis shoes and brown corduroys, my hair buzzed down in what they used to call a summer cut, and her, little more than the silver outline of the person she used to be, but with blue eyes that had never entirely released their hold on life. My grandmother often watched us from the doorway, wraith thin and hollowed by cancer, a wreath of cigarette smoke spinning overhead. She was only in her 50s, which seemed appropriately old for a grandparent when I was 10, but shockingly young now that I'm chasing that age myself. And that's it.
Ooh, oh man, Josh, I would love to read more of that story. So you don't even know exactly where that story is going completely, yeah?
I have a pretty good idea, but I'm still working on it. So hopefully, you know, it can get finished and published here at some point.
Oh man, well, I found that it already touching and scaring me, so I appreciate that. One of the things that we do, Josh, is for every we name every one-page salon. We give it a name distinctly, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a phrase that was in your story at some point and just use that as a possible title. The one I got from you, there's a really lot of good ones, but I'm going to go for "Whispered My Secrets." Okay. Because I just think that's sort of a cool name for an evening. Hey, Josh, if people want to find out more about your writing and sort of find out where to read it and everything, where would you recommend them going?
You can go to my website. It's joshroundtree.com. There is no D in Roundtree. It looks like there should be, but it's ROUNTREE. That's got links to anthologies and magazines where you can find my short fiction.
And of course, you can go to Lark Owl. You can go to their website right now and order "Can't Buy Me Faded Love" and read Josh's short stories. They're going to thrill you. Well, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
All right, talk to you soon. Okay, are you guys ready for our next reader? I think we are. I can see people, oh, nice, people saying all kinds of great stuff. Oh, by the way, Josh had Shirley Jackson reference, which is fantastic. It's funny, it's September. I happen to be a fan of Halloween, and I have now decided that Halloween, Halloween got October for a long time, but now I'm giving Halloween to September as well. And I might give it to November, because Thanksgiving is just so I might take Thanksgiving away from November and maybe just give it a week and the end of November, and then most of November, all of October and September, all now will go to Halloween. And so Shirley Jackson is a great person to be reading around Halloween. And she can read her all year long. She's just, God bless Shirley Jackson. Okay, so our next reader of the night, there's Becca Oliver, making sure the slides are working so well. So impressed. We're bringing on Charlie Clark. We're so glad to have him in Texas because he was from the University of Maryland, but he is now here. He is a National Endowment of the Arts Fellow. His poetry has been published all over the place, and he's got a new book coming out really soon, The Newest Employee of the Museum of Ruin. Please give it up for Charlie Clark. Hi, Charlie.
Hi there. Am I on right now?
You are. Are you wearing the exact same shirt now that you're wearing in the picture?
I'm not. It's almost, but this one is solid. That one has little white dots on it.
I see.
I was actually torn. I was thinking about it.
you look good in blue. Is that what this is?
Yeah, indeed I do. Yeah. I work to my strengths.
Nice. I think Becca's going to move us both up into the screen now. So we won't be comparing your two shirts.
Okay.
I love your background, by the way. Your books are all facing out the same way when I go to a bookstore.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and I face my books out. My books.
Yeah, these are all books published by my publisher, Four-Way Books. I decided that I've loved their books for decades now, I guess. And so I thought, yeah, it's a good opportunity to sort of, rep the publisher.
I love that.
So,
Can you just name a couple that you love? Like name a couple.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Well, here's Eru by Maya Phillips is a book that came out, I want to say last year, that's really pretty incredible. Reginald Dwayne Betts, he wrote Bastards of the Reagan Era. He's written a few books now. Yana Harvey, You Don't Have to Go to Mars for Love, just came out this week also, or next week. Yeah, so yeah, I thought, a little free advertising for the press. Why not?
Charlie, when does your book come out?
Tuesday.
Oh my gosh. Next week. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? On one page, since we've been doing this during COVID and everything, we've had a number of people whose books have come out, and of course the frustration of like, oh, I was going to do a tour, I was going to be doing these events, or just all of that being changed and different. How's it going for you?
It's okay. I was talking to Becca a little bit about this earlier, and there's so much going on in the world right now that it's not that I keep forgetting that the book was coming out, but so many other things seem to be taking precedent.
Yeah.
But I just yesterday got the box of author copies. So that was really gratifying and thrilling, and so it's interesting. We'll see how it goes. I think there's going to be an awful lot of Zoom time in my future.
Yeah.
So,
well, congratulations. I'm super excited. Let's jump into your three questions here. I'm going to do the same questions, I think. Right. First of all, is like, physically, what is your physical ideal book that you just pick it up and you're like, doesn't matter what's on the inside, I want this?
Yeah, I'd say anywhere from like 60 to 160 pages. Okay. French flap, deckled edge.
Deckled edge. That's what Josh was looking for. Yeah.
Exactly. And probably use, because I actually would love to see some marginalia in there from somebody else.
You like
Sort of
that?
see, yeah. I mean, not overly, not somebody who's highlighted every line in the book, but to see, sort of see that somebody has sort of read through it and thought about it and cared about the book. And that way I have something that I can compare my thoughts to.
It's a great description. All right, that's really good. Okay, next question for you is okay. We're sending you to get another degree, or some. I mean, I guess you could go to high. I don't know. You're going back to school. You're going back to school, and you're going to have to study something that you didn't study. What is it?
The ambitious part of me would probably say French. I'm horrible with, I have no native facility for foreign languages. It's really a struggle for me, but I love a lot of French literature and would love to read it in the original. More realistically, probably library science.
Oh.
I love libraries, and it seems like a good, libraries are a good place to be, and like a good sort of world to invest your time in. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So imagine if you did, like you went back and you got the library science, you became a librarian, you catch a kid writing in the margins of a French flap book, and you take it away, and now you're like, you ruined the book, you have to sell it. And then the current you finds that book and is like, perfect.
I go, oh yes, perfect. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. I have no gift for language either. And it's funny, over the last year, like I read this great book about the writing of Les Miserables. And I was like, I would love to be able to read French. And then I've been reading a lot of like Greek tragedies. And I was like, it's an old language, so it's got to be easier. I'll learn ancient Greek. And I have enough trouble with English. I'm
right there too.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. I like the way Josh put it, of having a place, a world in which you'd play. But what would be a book that you would be like willing to rewrite or reboot?
I have to say, I'm so glad I had time to think about this, because I think I would have just like gone blank and flop sweated all over the place if you had asked me that cold. I think one of my favorite fiction writers is David Markson. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. Yeah. Wittgenstein's Mistress is a great book of his, but his last 4 books are these sort of anti-novels that are all just a series of short, like epigraphs, essentially, from his life and from history. And it's a really fascinating style that he developed. And I would like to sort of sit down and mess around with his style. And he sort of, the author sort of figures into them here and there, but it's really sort of an investigation of the lives of artists and history in a sort of witty but sad way. So that, and I also I think the poem that I'm going to read tonight, in a certain way, tries to do a little bit of that, in that it sort of takes up, a lot of the poems in this book take up or respond to or interact with other writers or music or art or things in certain ways. So the poem that I'm going to read actually not revises, but plays with a poem written by a French poet, actually. So
that's a really good segue, by the way. Into your piece. I also, it makes sense. I mean, you were talking about library science and everything, and everything you were just
It's really
talking about.
sexy, isn't it? Library science.
It's the sexiest answer. Actually, for our crowd, and it really is. I mean, like,
right.
I mean, the way we're describing our books, like, it's the cover has got a French flap.
Exactly.
We sound. I mean, there is someone on YouTube going, "What is this?" But I just love. I mean, it makes sense with everything you've talked about. Has talked about different elements being in conversation, like not like the book doesn't stand alone. The book has someone's writing in it, which is not only in conversation with the book, but is in conversation with the next reader of the book. And then, of course, anyone who touches upon library science is like, how do we curate a collection? How do we make sure that these books are on the shelf next to each other? This writer that you love, I'm sorry, David Markson?
Just Markson, Markson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Markson is doing that with his work, and then this poem itself is another poem that's in conversation with another poem. It seems that that's a beautiful thing. I'm loving that you're bringing that. That's what we need.
I mean, it feels like I mean, the conversation that we're having now, it's sort of a natural, you know, it's what we do. We talk about art, we talk about poetry, we talk about music, we talk about novels. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, all right, I'm super excited. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there in the world, I want you to make the sound of a book that's being illegally written in by someone in the margins, just scratching up a book, ignoring the resale value just by writing in it, and you're the book screaming out in joy because someone's talking to you instead of letting you do all the talking for once. And give that noise up for our next reader tonight, Charlie Clark. Scribble, 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 scribble. Scribble, scribble, scribble.
All right, thank you, everybody. All right, so this poem, it's from my book, The Newest Employee of the Museum of Ruin. You can available on the Four Way Books website, fourwaybooks.com. The poem is called Amateur Hour. What do sad songs remind you of? The clouds here are beautiful in the manner of my wife's hands. They are pleasures with strange limits and change color quickly. In this way, they are like most beautiful. When my wife turns the volume knob, it's to make the sadness louder. During the commercials or the jockey chatter after, I worry I'm depressed. But just because I might be depressed doesn't mean I'm serious. To be serious is to have something unwavering inside you, and oh, how I waver. I'd write anything so long as it was beautiful. It's beautiful to touch either of my wife's hands. My wife's hands are warm as flagstones set out beneath the sun. When I touch them, the ringing in my ears becomes the tuning of viola strings. I think it was something like this that made Andre Breton write Free Union, but his enumerations get tedious. I'll limit mine to my wife's hands then. My wife's hands invented the word abode. When she folds them, my wife's hands are tighter than the onion where all time goes. One day it snowed and my wife put her hands inside the snow. They came out flush as the blood in the heart of a swan. When she put them to my face, I could not feel my tongue.
Hot damn, Charlie, that is beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful poem. I'm in love with that. I'm going to be going on Lark Owl Bookseller.com.
Yeah, go there too. Yes.
I'm going to go there tonight and buy your book. I'll pre-order it. That's super exciting. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you to you and to Becca and everyone at Writers League of Texas. It's an honor to be here.
Well, we really appreciate it. And I know everything's going to start going a little faster for you come Tuesday. But congratulations and best of luck. And thanks again for sharing it. Charlie Clark, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
So let's move on to our next reader of the evening. And oh, by the way, we have another possible title of the September 5th, 2020 One Page Salon title, or One Page Salon title, another title possibility for tonight. And it is Pleasure with Strange Limits is what I chose from Charlie Clark's poem, Pleasure with Strange Limits. I really like that. It's funny, I'm looking at my background now, and you know, I don't know if you notice this, but when you're zooming with people and you see something like that curtain back there, and you just know everyone's Zoom has like a curtain in the background that shouldn't be, where a curtain shouldn't be there. And you just know there's crap back there, right? There's just a load of, there's probably like a weed eater back there and a possum. It's very strange. Becca has pointed out that I've moved my position. It's true. I was here, and I've moved here to give a little more space. I have a poster of a film that I made called Follow, but I was recently on a Zoom call and someone says, cool Willow poster. I'm also a big Willow fan. And I, being the honest person I am, said, love that Willow. Ron Howard's best. Yes. Okay, so on to our next reader. I hope you guys are having a great time. It is actually so fun to see all the different familiar names in the chat room and talking with each other, and it's just great. I'm having a really good time, and I'm really excited about our next reader. Our next reader, I follow him on Twitter, which is a wonderful thing to do, by the way. And I'm going to ask him for his Twitter name when he gets on here, because he is someone you should follow, because he is going to inspire you by, I mean, maybe actually literally lighting a fire under your ass. He's just got a way of making sure you are getting to the business of writing and reading and living and supporting people who are doing the same. He knows about the power of art in that way. He also writes great columns for Lit Reactor. He's a really excellent book reviewer as well. His book Zero Saints and Coyote Songs, Coyote Songs, is so good. Would you please give it up for Gabino Iglesias? I can't give it up. But hey, how are you, Gabino?
Good to see you, my man.
It's good to see you as well. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.
So I was just saying everyone should follow you on Twitter. What's your Twitter name? What's your
It's Gabino, Gabino _ Iglesias, Iglesias. I hate the dashes and underscores, but there was another Gabino Iglesias out there who stole the name and never used it. So there's like a little egg account with like one follower out there that prevented me from using just my name at Twitter. So I had to use an underscore.
I have an underscore between my first name and last name. I didn't need to, but I
felt fancy.
I thought it was cool at the time. Like I was driving to a book conference with a friend, and I was like, I don't know, what is this Twitter? What is this thing? And he was like, let me just help you. And I was like, hey, put an underscore between my first and last name.
Underscore.
Yeah. I was like, you know.
Put an ampersand in there.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, there's an ampersand in Lark Owl tonight. So we support ampersands.
We do.
Yeah. You know, the other symbol that I really like that I think is so cool, we named our dog, we call our dog Tara, but her full name is Interrobang. Do you know what an Interrobang is?
Question mark and exclamation point.
That's right, together. So that used to be a thing. People used to use that, like a question mark, an exclamation mark right in the middle. And I don't know why that fell off the keyboard, but that used to...
Now we have to go about it in a different way. We have to put it together, and it's more elaborate. But I try to stay away from exclamation points because I think our president has killed it for at least a generation. So I try not to use them anymore.
It's not the worst thing that he's done, but it's true. That and capitalize.
Yeah, but it's one of them.
It is hard. Yeah. What are you working on right now, by the way?
The thing that I'm going to read from tonight, I literally finished. You never finish a book; you just give up on it and you send it off. 2 days ago, about 48 hours ago, I finished that thing. I spent 3 days editing, almost no sleep, and off it went. So I don't know what I'm working on right now because that one's out the door. We'll see.
That's all right. That's exciting. All right. Well, let me ask you your 3 questions, and we can get to here on your page. Okay. Same question. Book, physical. What's your ideal physical book? What does it feel like and look like and smell like?
So it's used. I can tell you that much. And when I moved here, I've always been broke, but at some point I was like, you can't afford toilet paper. You have to steal it from work broke. But I would still buy books. So I would go to used bookstores and check out their dollar area. And I had a small list in my back pocket of stuff like, Harry Crews, Chester Himes, Charles Willeford, like those old guys. And then, believe it or not, once or twice a year, some like a Chester Himes or a Harry Crews book would pop up for $1. And then I was happy for 3 months. So the ideal book is like one of those classics that I find at a used bookstore in pristine condition, even though it's from like 1976, and I pay $1 for it. That's the dream book. Yes.
Oh, that's a great. And it's so true when you go into the bookstore and you find that, you're like, or you're like sometimes like at a Goodwill, and I look around like, right. Does anyone know?
It's
Yeah.
like they don't know what they have. Let me run out of here with this. Yeah.
And you're trying to play it cool. I mean, it's not like I'm a
Yeah.
book collector. It's like it's not like it's worth $400. It's not like
Yeah.
an original Moby Dick. Whoa. But
Yeah. I'm gonna buy these James Patterson with it, so it looks like, yeah.
that's right. Just stack it all in there.
Stack it
Yeah.
all in there.
Okay. Your next question. Okay, going back to school. You got a PhD, don't you? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What do you have? What's your PhD in?
It's in journalism.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. All right. Which is what Josh would, that's what
Yeah, Josh, don't. If you're listening to this, don't.
go back.
Just don't. Just don't.
Okay.
Don't go back for that.
Okay, so you've done a lot of school, but now we're sending you back to any sort of school, but you have to study something you didn't study. So you can't study journalism. What are you going to study?
Anthropology.
Anthropology.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I mean, I already have a useless degree. Might as well get another one, right?
yeah, at this
that
point, it's
teaches
just
you
for
stuff.
fun.
Right.
Yeah,
It's for fun. Yeah. So anthropology. Yeah.
that's a
That'd
good
be
one.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reading involved, and I spent during my PhD, I spent a year sort of taking anthropology classes, and I really enjoyed them. But then I went to diaspora studies for another year,
Oh,
and then I went to African American studies for another year, and I just bounced around for like 6 years. But
Wow.
anthropology, I enjoyed a lot, so I would go back to that and get a degree, and then go back to teaching something instead of being an anthropologist. So, yeah, that'd be fun.
wow. That sounds, yeah.
When are we doing this?
I'm sending you the
All right.
admissions forms.
Yeah, I'm good at Zoom already, so let's do it.
Yeah, it's Phoenix University, unfortunately.
All
You're
right,
gonna be-
works.
So, but we'll see if they have an anthropology program at Phoenix University. Okay, and the last song, the last question, sorry, is a book. If you could reimagine a book, any book, and you're going to be assigned to reimagine it, what would be the book you'd do that with?
So last week I read that these heathens are going to remake The Exorcist the movie. We're getting a new Exorcist, which is there you go. That was exactly my reaction. And 5 minutes later, I put on my mask, I walked outside, and I punched my neighbor, came back in the house, and felt a little better.
Poor neighbor.
So the original novel, but let's add a touch of people recording her with their phones and the whole thing going viral, because we didn't have that when Peter William Blatty wrote that thing. So I would try to reimagine that one as and she's a poor brown girl, so she of course can't get anybody to help, not the church. No, she doesn't have health insurance, because of course she doesn't. And then
Her mom's not a
let's go
movie
that
star.
way. Right. Yeah. Or maybe she's in a cage at the border, and then because that's where evil resides, and then maybe that's where she gets possessed. So I would reimagine that one. It'd be fun.
Could you?
Yeah.
Would you do that?
I'm not working on anyone right now, so I got like 3 ideas.
Yeah.
We'll throw that one in there and work on all of them at the same time.
It's going to be hard because you're going to be studying for the anthropology tests coming up.
Right.
But,
But it's
your
all online.
midterms.
Nobody cares. So it's
That's great. I love that. Okay, well, you're going to be reading from the book that you just finished. What you want to tell us a little bit about it before you jump in?
Sure thing. As you know, my books are fun little romantic comedies with no heavy themes, no heavy topics. It's a father who loses his girl and then loses his wife and loses his job, and then having no options turns to a life of petty crime that eventually grows into something really dangerous. And then he takes one last gig to sort of move north and just go have a nice house in somewhere near the beach. And obviously that goes horribly wrong. And they get in the tunnels at the border, and there's a lot of magic and darkness and creatures and a lot of guns and death. It's a young adult novel. No, it's another dark barrio noir about madness and magical realism and syncretism and multiculturalism, and it's another bilingual book about bad things happening to good people. Yeah.
Well, that fills my heart with joy. I can't wait to read this one.
Yes. Thank you.
Big fan of what you do. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, as if your heart is pushing out like all the demons that will later infect the characters of future novels that Gambino will write, where you just let those demons screech into the air with joy that they're going to be immortalized in literature. Please give it up for Gambino Iglesias.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad that first part was filled with humor. I'm going to start reading. Here's the first word of the novel: leukemia. That's what the doctor said. She was young, white, and pretty. Her brown hair hung like a curtain over her left eye. She talked it to us softly, using the tone most people use to explain things to a child, especially when they think the kid is an idiot. Her mouth opened just enough to let the words flow out like liquid blades. She said our daughter had cancer in her blood cells, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Those strange words were what the doctor said. Her voice an impossibly sharp, velvety worm that buried into my ear and made my brain explode. Her soft delivery didn't help. You can wrap a shotgun in flowers. That doesn't make the blast less lethal. The young, white, pretty doctor with the silk voice told us that it was too early to tell for sure, but there was a big chance Anita was going to be okay. Okay, that's what the word she used. Sometimes 4 letters mean the world. Those 4 letters were pregnant with hope. She said big chance and immediately added that she wasn't making any promises. People fear being someone else's hope. I understood her, but I wanted her to be my hope. I wanted her to give me what I couldn't give myself. The doctor gave us a moment to process what she'd said. Silence is never as cold and sterile as it is in hospitals. We breathed in that silence and waited. I looked at her white robe, embroidered in blue right above her pocket. It read, Dr. Flynn. Dr. Flynn inhaled and then explained to us that acute lymphoblastic leukemia is a type of cancer that affects bone marrow and white blood cells. It's a relatively unexceptional error in the body, the most common childhood cancer. A glitch in the bone marrow, she said. Then she looked at us and said, bone marrow is the spongy tissue inside your bones where blood cells are made. You know, because she probably thought we were stupid. When you have an accent, people often think you possess the intellect of a fence post. And that's the first page.
Hot damn, hot damn. Ah, that's really good. Oh my gosh. It does start out so cheery.
That's the happiest part of the whole book.
I believe that. I've read your stuff. I know. I've been watching in the chat room. I think some people, when you said romance, that you write romantic comedies, weren't sure.
Believe me. Yeah, I don't. Sorry.
No. I mean, there's often humor and there's romance, and as well as death, monsters, and her
mayhem,
horrible,
yeah.
and mayhem. Yes. So many great lines, so many beautiful images already.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and I was like thinking about, what am I going to use for a little title? People don't like to be another person's hope. You can wrap a shotgun in flowers. 4 letters mean the world. I'm going to go with this just for title thing. I'm going to say another possible title is someone else's hope. Someone else's hope.
I like that. Fun story. I sent it to the agent with like 4 titles because I suck at titles and I didn't have one. So I'm going to email her that one too.
Wow. All right. So,
hey.
I mean, if it wins tonight, then it's officially the name of the September 5th, 2020 One Page Salon, but we can option the name to you for your novel.
You got it, man.
Yeah. We can do that.
I hope you like tacos because that's all I got.
I'm fine by that. That would be
It's rock.
That would be great. So keep us informed when the book's going to be coming out. And if people want to find out, like, oh, how do I get one of your books? How do I get Coyote Songs, Zero Saints, or follow you on Twitter? Where should they go? Where's the best place? Is it Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter's the best place. We live there because the world is closed for now. So that's where I am. And then you said it at the beginning, your local indie bookstore. If they don't have it, which sometimes they don't because indie presses can't offer a lot of help to indie bookstores, talk to them and they will order it for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, do that. Support your indie bookstores.
Support them. And I do know that right now Lark Owl does have it. So they are standing by ready to sell or be there for people who want to buy one of your books already, and will be, I'm sure, eager when your new one comes out. So thanks so much.
Hopefully.
I really
Thank
appreciate
you, man.
being here.
Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too. All right, guys. So we are now at the point of One Page Salon. Actually, Becca, why don't you come up back on the screen, Becca, and join me? Are you out there, Becca? Let's see. Let's see if I just threw that out at Becca that she could join me. Hi, Becca. How are you? You're faking. You're not really on mute.
I was on mute, but now I'm not. How are you? What a great group of readers.
Well, some of them have been okay. Oh, are we on? Yeah, it's been incredible. Such a great collection of readers. It's always so fun with finding people that I you bring these people to us and finding these writers that, like, some of them I know and some of them I don't, and all the time, every time it's what they're going to read is a surprise and a revelation. It makes my heart happy.
Yeah. And I should have said this at the top and I forgot to. So everybody just take a minute and clap in the chat box for Owen. And let's thank him for his generosity, for being here, for doing this, for creating the One Page Salon. Sorry, Owens, no one's clapping for you. Oh, okay, people are.
That would have been eerie of like, I just got canceled. I gotta have to check.
You're so amazing and just such a generous person. And I know that you've had a lot going on this week and that you have a lot going on in your life. So
thanks.
Thank you. You're the best. And we're lucky to have you in the Zoom world.
Well, I don't know about you, Becca, but I have, it's true. I think everyone's got a lot going on, and it is a difficult time to spend online sometimes. I go on the computer, and usually what I find are things that hurt my heart, enrage my sense of justice, and just turn my stomach again and again and again. And that includes also sometimes the conversations that are happening about what seem to me clearly horrific things going on in the world. And when I find people less enraged, in fact, as I was sort of preparing tonight and thinking through different one pages, and I went to Jane Kenyon, but there were sort of so many other writers I was thinking about who write about the rise of fascism or the need to be outraged and all those different aspects. And gosh, my goodness, the need also to not grow numb to the things that are happening in the world and the changes that need to come. Not to believe that what is happening again and again and again is acceptable because it's been happening again and again and again, but to keep that sense of outrage going. But when we come here and we do One Page Salon, I am also reminded of the power of voices, the power of beauty, and the power of words being put together and shared with one another. That is as essential, and it makes me very glad. So I'm very grateful to be able to be doing this with you guys.
We're lucky to have this, and I feel I love doing it every month. I think that every month it's a different interesting group of people reading. We get different people who show up and are a part of it, whether it's on the live stream or here in the room. And also it's just, I think, introducing joy and laughter and serious conversation at the same time, and thoughtful readings and silly readings, and all of it mixed together is just a reminder of what is great in the world, what can be great in the world. So,
Yeah.
And you know
So
what?
true.
Yeah. Anyways, we have reached the point where we need to find our next reader.
Lottery winner.
Who won the lottery?
It's our second Shirley Jackson reference of the night, the lottery.
Whoa.
But in this case,
yeah.
Well, I was going to say what happens in the lottery, but that would have been a spoiler for those of you who haven't read that short story. So,
I mean, I think
at this point, people know. People know. Doesn't go well.
Okay. We will not be. No one's gonna lose their lives tonight.
No one will die in tonight's One Page Salon lottery. That is a promise from Becca to you.
Yeah. So here's what you're gonna do, Owen. We have 5 people who have put their names forward as possible tributes.
Okay.
And you get to pick between 1 and 5. Give me a number.
Okay. John, Paul, George, Ringo. I'm gonna go with George tonight. We're gonna go with 3.
So our fourth reader of the night
Number
is
3 in the yeah.
Yeah. 4th, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Andy McKen.
Andy McKen.
McKen. Are you familiar with Andy McKen and his work?
I don't know if I am.
Well, let's see. First, Andy's going to need to
Step forward.
see if Andy's here, because then we got to promote Andy to. I don't think Andy's here.
Oh, well, as Becca's figure, you know what? I'll go for number 1. John was my second one after George. Number 1 will be my next number. As Becca's figuring this out, basically these people have signed up for this opportunity. If you want to, we do this every One Page Salon at most. Means that you've brought a page with you, but you're not on the actual docket, but now you are, and it's brave because you're taking the chance to read without really being necessarily fully prepared. I encourage that courage.
So now what we're going to do, and this person is here, is
Great.
Promote Suzanne Clark.
All right.
Suzanne Clark, you're being promoted to panelist. And then you can come on down, Suzanne, and you're going to be able to put on your video. I'm going to ask you to start your video. I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to assume this is all going to go well. Suzanne, are you there? Uh-oh.
Suzanne, go towards the light, Suzanne. Go towards the light.
I'm here.
Oh, are you now, Suzanne? I believe you may be Charlie Clark's mother. Am I right?
I am. Yes.
You already won the lottery because you got that guy as your son.
And you got.
You're so right. You want me to
So you entered. Now I don't know if you intended to do this or not, but you entered to read a page tonight yourself.
If I did, I'd have to read something my son wrote. Is that allowed?
Well, sure. No, I think we can allow that.
I did not realize that. I thought it was just some kind of a, I don't know. I was trying to support everything that you're doing.
You're so wonderful.
Sue, I tell you what, we won't make you read. We won't make you read, but you've got a pretty fantastic son and a pretty wonderful daughter-in-law as well.
Indeed. When you said before something about married poets, I thought,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you're conscious of Charlie and Sasha.
Sasha West is another one of these brilliant poets that we love here. Yeah. So, that's wonderful. You could also just, if you want to, you just make up a limerick for us if you want.
Oh, fun.
Oh, I'm not good at just thinking up something on my feet. Like I said, if anything, I would have to do something of Charlie's. I'm better at that.
We'll go to someone else on the lottery
Thank
list.
you. And I'm sorry that I misunderstood what this was.
No, it was fun.
I just support you guys. Okay, I'm going to
We're
say
glad we
goodbye.
got to meet you. All
Thank
right.
you, Sue.
Thank you.
care.
Bye-bye.
All right, Owen, we're going to try one more and then we're going to move on.
Okay, we're gonna go with number 2, I guess. Go with number 2.
All right, let's see. One more shot. Judith Kenyon, are you with us? Judith Kenyon. I don't think that she is.
I wish that had been like Charlie's cousin.
Now I'm just going to look and see if any of the other people who put their name. Okay, we have a winner. Are you ready?
Is a winner because it's the only person who signed up for the lottery who's still here?
I am introducing you now to Jane Anderson, who has been promoted to panelist if she accepts the challenge. Let's see. Oh no, did I lose her? Nope, there she is. And now we're going to ask her to turn on her video. And let's see, I bet it's Charlie's aunt.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, not Charlie's aunt.
Are you related to any of the readers tonight?
I mean, I don't know. That would be a really exciting turn of events.
That's right. We don't know. We're gonna be doing DNA tests. It's part of the format. Well, that was it was really sweet. I'm so actually, Sue, if you're still watching, thank you for coming on. That was really great. I'm really nice to meet Charlie and Sasha's mom there. Jane, thank you for being here, and you won. You won.
Yeah, I know. I kind of put my name in thinking there'd be like a ton of people, and I was just being supportive.
Yeah.
Not thinking this would actually happen. So here we are. That's life, right?
You did. It's so true. There's so many people who put their name in to be writers, but the people who win are the people who show up.
Okay.
Yeah. So fantastic. So Jane, do you write then?
I'm trying to write. I'm working on a memoir.
Oh, fantastic.
And so I just joined the Writers League of Texas this year. I'm a new to Texas, new to the Writers League, and they've been amazing. Like, so grateful.
Oh, that's great. Where are you from before here?
Oh, I'm a rambler. I've lived all over the place. But my memoir is about my time in Florida.
Well, that's great. Well, Texas, Austin particularly, we would love ramblers. Yeah. Well, Jane, let me ask you your 3 questions. You up for those 3 questions? The same 3 questions I was asking the other writers?
Yeah, I should have been paying more attention to what the real writers said.
But
yeah, okay.
Hey, did you just say real writers? Jane,
well, sure, yeah, okay.
If you put pen to paper, you're a real writer.
Oh, I just saw that Becca said that. Thank you, Becca. That's very encouraging. Thank you.
It's just a truth. It's just a truth. And I tell you this, it's a truth. And I say this, it's so true that you are a real writer, and it wouldn't be anything like, it's not fake encouragement. It's true encouragement. It's something that I tell myself. I guarantee it's something that all the writers that we have tonight tell themselves, because there's always a voice in your head saying, oh, a real writer would have a bigger publisher, or a real writer would have a New York Times bestseller. It's always one other thing that you're not. It's just that demon that's deceiving you by telling you, oh, you don't count as a real thing until you reach this fake goalpost that is constantly changing. Don't buy it. Don't believe it. If you're putting words on paper, then you are a writer. That is what it means to be a writer, and everything else is secondary.
That's great to hear. Thank you for sharing that. That's very cool.
You're welcome. I'm talking to myself as well. Okay, so your first question, your favorite book physically, what do you love? What would be your description of like your ideal physical book?
Well, I mean, I think repeating what other people have said, just a book that is worn, that I've, clearly read a handful of times. And,
yeah,
it's got my stank on it.
No one has said that yet.
That's what they meant.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. Are you a paperback or hardcover?
Paperback. Yeah.
I've moved into hardcover for some reason. I don't know. I love hardcover. Yeah. I used to love the book that you could, put in the back pocket of your jeans,
Yeah.
But that's hard with a hardback. But I don't know. I love a hardback. for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, next question. You have to get a degree. We're sending you to school. And it's studying something you've never studied before. Something that's like, ooh, this might be a passion, but I don't know because I've never studied it. What are you going to study?
Yeah. Okay. So I have it. So my memoir is about getting a PhD in wildlife biology, studying monkeys. And so I think I would flip it a little bit. Of my degrees in wildlife biology, I think I would try to copy somebody from earlier. Cultural anthropology sounds really cool. It just sounds like a good excuse to just like travel the world and meet a lot of people.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I suppose
Yeah.
you've probably traveled quite a bit in getting that first PhD. Is that maybe part of your rambling?
Well, no, my writing is about studying monkeys in Florida. So
they're
not
just
that
all
far.
in Florida. I didn't know if monkeys, if like you have to go to like Mississippi, in Portland, wherever, like around the world.
No, there's feral monkeys in the boonies of Florida. That's what I write about.
They're feral monkeys?
I got a whole dissertation on it. Yeah.
What's a feral monkey?
Oh, like a monkey living out in the wild. There's a wild population of monkeys. Well, actually, there's 3 species, but I read about one.
Were they, like, feral seems to, were they once not feral?
Yeah, somebody let them go. That's what
like
I do
Project
for
X.
That's what I do for a living. I study these populations of animals that are in places they don't belong. So my work now is with parrots in Hawaii.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Parrots.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a scientist, not a writer, but I'd like to write about these things because they're kind of wild.
Now they are, since someone.
Yeah, well, yeah, literally wild. Yeah.
I think that's so fascinating because when you were saying, I was picturing you were like Jane Goodall. I thought you were doing Jane Goodall type stuff, but this is a bit different.
Yeah, no, that would be like a much cooler setting. No, I was living in a trailer in the woods of Florida studying monkeys.
Wow. Okay. So cultural anthropology is where you would like to be, and I suppose that would where, like, you have anywhere in the world or anything specific?
Oh no, I took one cultural anthropology class in Florida. It just just changes your whole perspective of the world to learn about different cultures. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, that's really cool. Okay, and your PhD sounds amazing too. Okay, a book that you would, if you were gonna I'm gonna reimagine a book or a classic, what would it be?
That's such a I think my favorite classic book,
or it could be any book.
Is my husband introduced me. He actually has a literature degree.
Okay.
Chronicle of a Death Foretold. I think would be really cool to imagine if it was a woman who came to town.
I don't know Chronicle of a Death Foretold.
Oh, well, it was Gabriel. Oh my goodness, I can't think of his name. Gabriel. It's so good. I can tell my husband can't hear me because he'd be shouting at me from the other room.
Is it Gabriel Marquez?
Yes, Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Okay.
Yes. It's really good.
Wow. Okay.
And it's short.
I've only read, I've read Love and Time of Cholera and 100 Years of Solitude, the big one, but I should read that one, huh?
Look at all these people shouting, yeah.
Okay. And you think it'd be interesting to reimagine that one?
I love reading old books with like these strong dominant male characters and wondering what it would be like if it was women now. Yeah.
I think
a lady murderess.
Well, now I really have to read it. Okay, that sounds fantastic. Okay, so what are you going to read to us tonight? Is it from this memoir that you're working on?
Yeah, again, I sort of signed up for this on a lark, so maybe I'll just read the first page.
Fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as if you are a feral monkey who finds yourself trapped in the swamps of Florida. I don't know, you're in Florida for some reason, which is reason enough to be panicked. Go ahead and make some noise and give it up for our lottery winner, very, very brave, Jane Anderson.
Thank you. There's an F-bomb in here. Is that okay? Okay.
That is okay.
Okay.
Just don't fucking swear.
Okay. Whew. I had failed again. I had quit my collapsed marriage, thinking I could make it as a scientist. Now I had fucked that up too. Worst of all, I had hurt an animal. I crouched in the small dark blind, asininely painted camouflage, as if that would keep monkeys from discovering it. I pushed the air from my pursed lips, not wanting to create even the sound of my own breath. I tried not to check my phone. On Facebook, the animal rights activists boast that they were on the river, patrolling the site in search of the injured macaque. Afterwards, they would deal with me, whom they called the culprit. I tried to focus on my training. These animals didn't belong here. Florida had no place for monkeys. But I knew in my heart, invasive or not, animals should not suffer at the hands of humans. There was an animal suffering, and it was because I was arrogant, ambitious beyond my capabilities. Then I heard it, the unmistakable high-pitched trill, followed by the crash of violently toppled branches and brush. There were macaques, less than a quarter away, storming towards me and my trap. I pulled my face deeper into the dark blind, not wanting the light of the peephole to illuminate my face inside. I clutched the long string running along the ground to the stick haphazardly propping open the trap. It didn't matter that I was a divorcee, a sham scientist, a failure. I was a huntress, and I had to make this right.
Hot damn.
Thank you.
Jeez, my goodness.
Oh, thanks.
That's the opening page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you got out of there okay.
Yeah, I made it. The monkey was fine.
The monkey was fine too?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, Jane, that was great. That was great. How far along on your memoir are you?
I finished it 2 months ago. It's a hot mess though. You know, I just finished like draft 1, and I've been really following the Writers League to figure out what happens next, because this is totally all new for me.
Well, man, I for one can't wait to read it. What's the title? Do you have a title yet?
I'm calling it Of Monkeys and Men.
That's great.
Thank
okay.
you.
Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jane
Thank
Anderson,
you.
winner of the One Page Salon lottery there. Oh my gosh. And that is fantastic. And the possible name, Jane, that I'm going to take, I wrote down a bunch of different things,
Thanks.
but I'm going to go for Huntress.
Thanks. That's another one.
That'd
Thank
be
you.
a damn good title for tonight's One Page Salon. So that is possibly Huntress.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
so thank you, James. All right, so we are down to now our last reader of the evening. I'm super excited. It's always great also to find someone who's working on their first book, like Jane is, and telling something really exciting. So our next writer is coming to us from Houston, Texas, just down the road from me and near where I grew up. And she's a bunch of different things. She's a slam poet. She's an activist. She's a poetry on the page as well. She's a songwriter. She's often got music and art that she's putting along with her poems as well. Just sort of an incredible human being in so many different ways. Please give it up for Deborah DEEP Mountain.
Hey, how are
Hi,
y'all?
Deborah.
How's everyone doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so I'm gonna read some new stuff today. Is that all right? Yeah,
Totally.
new stuff.
I see you got the newsworthy, your most recent book back there. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes for a really great Zoom background. It's intriguing and people should buy it. Here you go. But today I'm actually reading from a new collection that I'm shopping right now. Yeah. And so it's no one has really read this besides my husband and a few close friends. So yeah, I'll just, I guess, get into it.
Well, actually, before we get started.
Just joking. I'm answering questions. I'm just joking. I'm nervous because it's new and I'm like super nervous.
That's funny because Deborah, you're like a natural. I've seen you in the videos and you're just like a natural in front of people. But does Zoom make you nervous? Because you've been on stage lots of times.
No, it's new, and I'm not natural. I'm just a really great actress.
Oh, well, sure. I understand that. And it's because the poems are new that makes you nervous as well?
It's not poems. And so I think that's also probably what it is.
Okay. This is building up the intrigue now. Deborah, so first of all, you're in Houston, yeah?
Yes.
And you are in your bio is talking about the Black Poet Laureate of Houston.
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Poet Laureate position is basically a government sanctioned position that says you're the ambassador of poetry for whatever that section of land is, or whether it's a country or a city or a state. And so I was able to serve as the first Black Poet Laureate of the city of Houston, which is really great. And I got to just spend basically 2 years being an ambassador to help people understand that poetry is not this elitist thing that lives on a shelf somewhere, but it's a thing that we take in and breathe and move and listen to every single day, and that it's accessible.
Yeah. That's so cool. And so when you were doing that, you became this sort of ambassador for poetry. And was that like then going into schools, going into just different places that maybe didn't even work? I was like recently was talking with a friend. He's like, it's funny, I don't own any books of poetry. And I was like, it was
a shame.
A shame. It like rattled my head.
He should buy Newsworthy. No, I'm just joking. No, yeah, I mean, I definitely got to do that. I got to do some really great partnerships. I actually wrote the opening script for the video for the Houston Rockets season. I got to perform on the 50-yard line of the Texans Stadium. And then I got to do stuff like, the State of the City address by the mayor and other things like that were like kind of big, citywide events too. So I kind of was like all over the place for 2 years, which I'm so grateful that Leslie Contreras Schwartz, baby, you got it now. And it's not the thing that I'm working on currently. But it was definitely an honor and a blessing to be able to do it.
That is so cool. Well, I think that's really wonderful. Well, let's jump into your 3 questions. First of all, what is the physically would be your favorite book? Like the size, the hardback, paperback, the feel of the paper. What physically makes a book for you like, oh, I love this?
Yes, it would be an odd shaped book because I don't like the standard book, and it would be hardcover, which is like impossible to find an odd shaped hardcover book because people don't make that, right? Yeah. So because that doesn't happen. So I would say that I would make it gold leaf pages like old school Bibles, right? Because I'd love like those kind of pages.
Really,
and it would
be that really thin paper.
Yes, with the gold on the outside.
Yeah.
And then it would have never been opened before. So I could get that like when you open the book for the first time in the spine bit. Oh, that's like the best. That's like literary porn, I guess, right there. It's great.
All right, that's great. Okay. Next question. Okay, we're sending you back to school. You're gonna have to study something you've never studied before, but it can be anything. It can be anything at all. And you're gonna spend a couple of years doing it. We're footing the bill. What is it gonna be?
So I couldn't decide. Can I give you 2? Because I can't decide. I'm gonna give you 2.
No, you cannot.
So it would either be culinary arts, because I really love to cook. I've always loved to cook and I've wanted to go to school for that. So that's great. Or I would go back and get my MFA in screenwriting for films. And I'd be a filmmaker.
You don't need an MFA in screenwriting to write screenplays.
I know I have one. Oh, secret.
You have an MFA in screenwriting, or you have a screenplay?
I have a short film that I've written.
Well, that's super cool.
I know it's crazy. I've been doing a lot of crazy experimentation the last few years, and I love hybrid work. So I'm always trying to figure out ways to mess with what people expect, which doesn't serve well for trying to sell a book. I can tell you that, but it does make me happy on the inside. So
that is really cool. Okay, so the next question, what would be a book, and this could also be a book of poetry, but something that your job would be you to be reimagining it, but also it could be a screenplay, it could be whatever you want.
I would take Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and turn it into a social commentary on Black life. Bam. Wow. I've been thinking about this.
Did you think about it before tonight?
Yes, I have. I know it's cheating. I definitely thought about it before tonight. I think that, the way that The Wiz reimagined The Wizard of Oz, I would love to do that with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think the idea that Charlie came from poverty, it would work as a young Black kid. It really would. And I think that for all of the ways that the kids got caught up, there's a way to really throw in some great symbolism on the ways that Black kids get pulled and caught up in the streets. And so I think that would serve as an amazing book that I would want to redo and all of that.
Oh my gosh. And then you could write the screenplay.
And then I can write the screenplay. And it would be great.
I hope you do that. I would love that. Okay, so you said that what you're writing, what you're going to read to us today is new. Do you want to give any other kind of introduction, or should I just let you take it?
No, I can give you an introduction. So the one question no one's been able to answer for me is what genre this is. And I think it's because I don't have a traditional genre, which is also a problem, right? It's okay though, hybrid, yay. And so I started writing just accounts of, okay, so let me back up. My mom started to tell me stories about my great-grandmother who I never met. And I found that she was like me. It literally was like, you took me and just put me back 50, 60 years in the same attitude, the same reactions all day long. And I went much like someone who I'd never met before, right? And so then I started to just like write down the stories that my mom would tell me about my great grandmother, about my grandmother, and just kind of like for myself collect the stories of the women in my family. And then I found myself on a podcast with this great youth poet laureate, Jackson Neal, who asked me about mythology and Black mythology. And I was like, yeah, Black people don't really have mythology like that. Like not, they do, but I mean, written down, I mean, I guess Brer Fox, there's a couple of the people who could fly, but I mean, like a tradition, one that's constant and clear, like Greek mythology, that doesn't really exist. And so I started really thinking like, why doesn't it exist? Maybe it's just because I haven't written it. And so I started going on this trek to transition some of these like more memoir pieces about my life and about situations with my mother and my grandmothers into lightly mythological stories that have grander lessons about them. And so some pieces seem more memoir, some pieces seem completely illogical but definitely with a point, and some are right in the middle and you're not really sure which genre it is, and those are the ones that are probably my favorite.
Oh man, well, I am super excited. That description sounds fantastic. All right, well then, okay, let's just go ahead and do this. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please just put your hands together wherever you are. Go ahead and clap. We're super excited, and give it up for Deborah, DEEP Mountain.
Hey folks, so the piece that I'm going to read today is actually a section about my acting bad when I was a kid. I think one of the things that within a lot of the times, but why discipline was necessary. And so I decided to take that and reimagine it. Here we go. My mother put her faith in me, the youngest of 6, still trying to impress my siblings with thoughts of grandeur, acts of disobedience, and my mother was more than equipped to handle my sass. I mean, I'm not bragging here, but I always had a quick draw tongue. Smartest mouth in the West from the age of 5, would have held a straw in my mouth, but was scared of starting a fire. No time for tantrums when I could out logic. But doesn't lime jello count as eating something green, Mom? Shots fired. My mother would duck and dodge to the best of her ability, but no one was a match for the clapback kid. Though we would square off often, her at one end of the hall with a belt in hand, me plotting how I would slide between her legs and take the roundabout through the wild stable where my brother was held, bolt out the back prairie to the open plains where my valiant steed Sarah awaited for me to jump on her furry back, pull the collar and ride her into the sunset. My mother was not going to chase me, but I knew it was because I was too fast. Body and mind, a holster of fail-safes. I'm just trying to do what Jesus would do. And didn't he flip the tables when he was mad? Airtight. I kept a list of good behaviors at the ankle and religion close to the chest. And when caught too close to desperation, I would pull out the big guns. This one day, we were in a stare down, tingling fingers dancing over leather stripping excuses, her heart pumping bigger than her chest, my confidence spreading a smirk like peanut butter across my face smooth. I reached for an automatic to end it quickly. If you touch me, I'm gonna call CPS on you. Fire. She dropped the belt. Calm-like saunters over to me, her open hand soft. She slid her shoulder up to my chest and smiled, took a big step back with a okay in hand, then pulled the phone book from her back pocket and flipped the yellow pages into a tornado that picked me up and held me just above eye level. She wrangled the phone from her front side holster and cleared her throat graciously. She started to saunter back away, leaving me pinned by the air, only to stop mid-stride and turn to say, if you feel I haven't been fair to you, feel free to call, but just know I don't raise no liars, and I will have to beat you. Tumbleweed. She side-straddled over the belt, itchy fingers returning, waiting for me to make a move. Maybe I got it honest. That's it. It's over. Fiend.
Wow, that was brilliant.
Thank you.
Deborah, I love that. Oh, man, I love that. So you're working on this. What do you think? Like, where is it right now? It's new right now, but is this gonna, like, when are we gonna see this in the world?
Well, as soon as an agent signs off on it. No, I'm shopping for an agent right now. I've had a couple interests, being piqued, but no one yet has signed off. It is a really funky book. It's a little different, and so it's going to take a little bit of a different kind of person to edit it. But I'm excited about it, and so. I've sent off some of the pieces. Like the book opens with a piece that's about how Black women got eyes in the back of their head. And you kind of see that my mother is kind of the descendant of these women who've like always been able to see the whole world and react because of it. And so I've sent out some of the pieces, and some of them have been published internationally and other things, but we're still crossing our fingers and waiting for someone who's willing to represent it.
Man, I'm super excited. I'm super excited.
thanks,
I wrote down a bunch of different things that could possibly be titles for the one-page salon, little things that, like, what would Jesus do? I don't know if you saw my coffee mug today, but my coffee mug is, oh my God, you guys, that's not what I said.
I love that.
Yeah, but also just like, starting a fire and all these different things, clap back kid. I think peanut butter smooth though. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like it.
Peanut butter smooth would be a great title for a night. And yeah, just so cool. And I can see that Becca Oliver is already saying, let's get you an agent. So cool.
Tell me how. Tell me how.
Deborah talked to Becca. She is great. And she she's one of the jewels of it's in so many lives of artists' lives of like, oh my gosh, you are so valuable and shining and share so much wisdom. Talk to Deborah. She's been a really good asset.
Becca, I'm gonna call you. Don't put it in the chat. I'm gonna call you, Becca.
Well, let's do this. Let's get Becca and let's get all the different writers up here. We got one last thing to do, which is to vote to name what we're going to be naming tonight, and allow everyone watching to vote to name tonight. But I just want to thank you guys once again, and for what you read today and the books that you're putting out into the world, and also just the fact that even by being here, but I know in so many other ways that you're inspiring people, that you're sharing that fire, and that means a lot because it's dark times. So the light that you put out there, whether it's a tweet or a poem or a joke or a word or a recommendation, means so much. And remember that all these different artists have books that you can get. Go to Lark and Owl, check them out online, or give them a call. They've got books and great recommendations too. And just fall in love with these folks. And then pretty soon we'll be reading Jane's book about the feral monkeys living in Florida. And it's going to be amazing too. Okay, so let's go ahead. Here are the possible titles. Everyone listening, because everyone's going to be voting in the chat room. You can just yell it out. The possible titles for tonight. Is it going to be Josh's suggestion, Whisper My Secrets? Charlie's suggestion, Pleasure with Strange Limits? From Camino, Someone Else's Hope? From Jane, Huntress? Or Peanut Butter Smooth? What are we going to be calling the September 5th, 2020 one-page salon? It can be any of those. Just start writing them into the chat room. It's a scientific thing that we do, that we know how to.
And I have a question.
Oh, yes, Charlie.
I have a question. Does my mother get a vote?
Your mother gets to vote, and if I'm going to times her vote times 3.
Yes.
So
she's like a tiebreaker, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. She gets multiple votes. Okay. Yes. I see someone said number 2. I think they mean, the pleasure one. People are saying the pleasure one, like, okay, peanut butters, it's between, someone else's hope is in there. Okay, let's see. Mark suggested something I said, need to be outraged. I appreciate that, but Huntress, Sasha's saying Huntress. Charlie, your wife is voting for Huntress, by the way.
Charlie's voting for Huntress.
Oh, Charlie is too. My goodness. I think, I'm looking at it. It is Huntress. We are calling tonight, September 5th, 2020, one-page salon. It's called Huntress. Thank you from Jane Anderson and her upcoming memoir about monkeys and men, which I'm so excited. So please keep your applause at home. If you're at home, I want you toasting with your hands and with face and with your eyes and with your mouth and making some noise and typing out some applause for all the different people who read to us for tonight. We've got Josh Roundtree, Charlie Clark, Gabino Iglesias, Jane Anderson, Deborah DEEP Mountain. Give it up for Lark and Owl Hope Alliance, which is doing so many great things. Rebecca Oliver and the Writers League of Texas. Thank you guys so much for being out there, reading, writing, creating, and sharing what is being created out in the world. It makes for a better world every time you do. I'm Owen Egerton. This has been the One Page Salon. Join us the first Saturday of next month. We'll be doing this again, and it'll be October and super spooky. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.